Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa afdalu salatu wa atamu taslim, ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, wa radiyallahu ta'ala an sadat al-tabi'een, wa ulama al-amalin, wa a'immat al-arbat al-mujtahideen, wa muqalibihim illa yawm al-din, amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. إنه يقول الله تعالى في كتابه يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. Sadaqallahul Azim. Alhamdulillah, on this day of Eid, on this day of Jumu'ah, we first want to remind the believers of the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who says in Surah Al-Jumu'ah, O you who believe, when the call is made for Jumu'ah prayer, fas'aw ila dhikrillah, hasten to the remembrance of Allah, and leave off all business. Wadurul bay'a. Leave it off. Drop it. Dhalikum khairu in kuntum ta'lamun. That is better for you if you but knew. Inshallah, the title of this khutbah is Be Your Brother's Keeper. And inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we intend to clarify a few things in the process. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us to complete another Shahru Ramadan. He has blessed us to complete another month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, He has blessed us to complete another Eid al-Fitr, the feast of the fast breaking. Alhamdulillah, and He's combined these two on the same day, Yawm al-Jumu'ah and the day of fasting. Principle number one. Principle qaida number one. A nawafil or a sunnah can never take the place or undo or supersede a wajibat. Something that is obligatory, something that is fard. Why do I say this? Because the Jumu'ah and the Eid, for most of us, fell on the same day. And so there is an opinion floating around that when you have Eid and Jumu'ah on the same day, that you don't have to do Jumu'ah. That opinion is extracted from the school of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. All of the other ulama disagree with that, based upon the principle that I just told you. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, and all of the scholars who take from them disagree with that. Why? Because the Eid is only a highly recommended sunnah, it's not fard. It's the next best thing to fard, or wajib, but it's not fard. And something that's mustahab, something that's highly recommended, can never take the place of something that's fard, something that's wajib. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the establishment of Jumu'ah Salah in the Quran. We just mentioned it. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu idha nudiya lis-salati min yawmil jumu'ah fas'aw ila dhikrillahi wa dhurul bay'a. Fas'aw, fi'lu amr. That's a command from Allah. Hasten to the remembrance of Allah wa dhurul bay'a, and leave off all business. Now, alhamdulillah, we recognize all four madhahibs, and we recognize, even though it's a minority opinion, we recognize that it's a legitimate opinion, but we want to mention principles, because a lot of us do not understand principles. Because we don't understand principles, we violate other things down the line, because we don't understand basics. And we are people now, in 1439, in 2018, we want to soar to the heavens, but we can't even crawl. We want to be extra deep, but we're shallow. You want to be your brother's keeper. How do you be your brother's keeper? By being respectful to him, with him, but yet at the same time being honest with him. Not embarrassing him, but pulling him or her to the side and letting her know the truth. Whether it makes them feel or look good or other than that. Why? Because we're brothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. Only the believers are brothers. So make peace, rectify, fix, repair the situation between the brothers. And fear Allah so that you can achieve or attain Allah's mercy. You want to be your brother's keeper. Many of us, we don't do the basics. And we wonder why we can't get advanced in anything. And many times when we achieve advances, it's only short-lived because we don't have the basics. Watch a new house construction, a new building construction. They spend more time on the foundation in the basement than they do anything else. They have to make sure that's right. They have to make sure that's tight. Because if you don't have that right, everything else you have is fruitless and it's short-lived, even if it looks very nice and it sparkles. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, La yu'minu ahadakum hatta yuhibba li akihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. La yu'minu ahadakum hatta yuhibba li akihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. None of you believes until he loves or wants for his brother what he wants for himself. None of you believes. La yu'minu ahadakum. None of you believes. If you take this hadith, isolate it from the rest of the sunnah, and you understand it literally by itself, not connected with any other hadith, any other of the sunnah, disconnected from the Quran, disconnected from everything else. If you were to understand this hadith by itself, this would mean that someone who does not want for his brother what he wants for himself is a kafir. This is what this hadith would mean. But as we explained on many occasions, that you can't take this hadith or any other hadith for that matter in isolation by itself. Everything has a place. And the belief that the Prophet ﷺ is talking about is the completion of Iman, the completion of faith. The belief that the Prophet ﷺ is not, he's not talking about the articles of faith. Belief in Allah, belief in the angels, belief in the books, belief in the messengers, belief in the hereafter, belief in the divine decree. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the completion of faith. He's talking about that thing that makes you self-motivated. You know what a self-motivated person is? He or she doesn't need anybody or anyone or anything outside to motivate them. This person makes salat on time because they want to, because they want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This person enjoys the right and forbids the wrong, not because somebody told them they had to do it, not because, they're going to look a certain way in front of people, because it's what Allah commanded them to do. This person takes care of their family Not because, well, somebody made me do it, or because I'm going to look this way or that way, because Allah commanded them to do it and they want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are self-motivated. You can cut them off from all century, separate them from all people, and if you were to spy on them, they would be doing the exact same thing that you see them doing in front of people. They are self-motivated. The thing that keeps us self-motivated is this kamal al-iman, this completion of iman. And this is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about. This is what is meant when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have informed us that faith increases and decreases. He's not talking about those basic articles of faith that we mentioned. He's talking about those actions that we do that bring us closer to Allah. And Allah and His Messenger has connected our iman, our faith to it. This hadith is one example. I'll give you another one. من رأى منكم منكرا فيغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. Whoever amongst you sees an evil, you know the hadith, has to change it with his hands, meaning he has to do something about it. You see a munkar, you witnessed it, don't look around, you witnessed it. You have the ability to do something about it. The burden of responsibility is on you. He didn't see it, you saw it. Change it with your hands. If you're not able to do it, then with your tongue, say something about it, that's going to change the evil. And if you're not able to do that, then change it with your heart. What does change it with your heart mean? Make sure that your heart is never cool with that evil that you just saw. And that's one of the dangers of repeatedly seeing the same evil and evil and evil over and over again. Because if you don't practice this, you become cool with that evil. That's why they keep pushing fahsha in our face. Fahsha is sexual evil. You always hear munkar, fahsha, and munkar. Both of them means evil. Fahsha is evil with regards to sex. So they keep pushing this deviant sexual behavior in your face. They keep teaching it to your kids. Yes, your kids in elementary school. They teaching it to your kids in school, and in textbooks, and on TV. And cartoon figures are deviant sexual figures. Cartoon. And they keep pushing it over and over and over again on you. And so even you, as a Muslim, with all of the Quran that you just finished reading during Ramadan, you know about the people of Lut. You know what the punishment for that is. You know how disgusting that is in the sight of Allah. And you claim to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that. But you see it over and over and over again, and it's like, what was it I mean? I'm cool. That's good. Why? Because you kept seeing it over and over and over again. You didn't change it in your heart. You wasn't able to do anything about it. You wasn't even able to say anything about it. And you didn't protect your heart from falling in love with it. So you cool with it. Well, ذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. And that is the weakest of faith. That is the weakest of faith. Faith, iman, belief. This is what we're talking about. In another riwayah of that same hadith, after that, there is no iman. This is why one day you could be super Muslim. What is it? A bird? A plane? No, it's super Muslim. And then the next day, you're the same person. Oh man, I don't even feel like being Muslim no more. Why? Because your faith not only increases and decreases, it increases and decreases extremely. Next minute, one day you're ready to pray all your sunnah, all your nawafil, do every dhikr. You're ready to read his Muslim after every salat. You're not even traveling, you're reading the dua for traveling. Super Muslim. The next day you don't even want to pray. Brothers, move up a little bit, running out of space, inshallah. Brothers almost praying it out. This is the completion of faith that we're speaking about. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam once again said, "La yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibba li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin." Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa afdalu salatu wa atamu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een wa radiyallahu ta'ala an sadat al-tabi'een wa ulama al-amalin wa a'immat al-arba'at al-mujtahideen wa muqallidihim ila yawm al-din amma ba'd. You want to be your brother's keeper. We want to be our brothers and our sisters' keeper. We all we got. The Sahaba understood that. We are all that we got. Some of us, we can't stand to be around each other, but guess what? We all we got. And you may not realize it now, but you may realize it later. And if you realize it later, you may not be able to get it back. Sometimes when you're not grateful for a thing, Allah will take it right away from you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La in shakartum la azidanakum. If you are grateful for a thing, Allah will increase it for you. Some of us aren't grateful for what we have, and so Allah tests us with it. He lets us have it for a little bit of time. We're looking at this thing. I don't like this thing. I see this imperfection there. I see this imperfection there. If I didn't have this thing, I wouldn't even really care. Then Allah takes it from you. And then you're sitting there like, oh man, I don't have nothing now. But when you had it, how were you? You was always complaining about it. You didn't appreciate it. You thought the grass was greener on the other side. Then you went over there, you find out it was weeds over there because it was so green. It was grass was green over, it wasn't even grass, it was weeds. And guess what? A whole bunch of snakes and lizards and all type of stuff right over there ready to tear your behind up because you didn't appreciate the grass you had. We have to be our brother's keeper. This hadith teaches us that we have to think about our Muslim brothers. It's not always about you. A lot of us think it's always about us as individuals. It's not about you. It's about the brothers, the sisters. When I say brothers, I hate it in English because if I keep saying brothers, some sisters will say, well, what about the sisters? In Arabic, it's all inclusive. When you say ikhwan, that's either a whole bunch of brothers or a whole bunch of brothers and sisters. Just a little basic Arabic 101 lesson. When you're dealing with plurals, if you use a masculine plurals, that includes any females that may be there. If you have a problem with that, take it up with Allah. That's the language He used. That's the language He revealed the Quran in. So your beef is with Allah. I didn't make it up. You beef with Allah. You become ungrateful with Allah in your salah. You tell Him you didn't like the language He revealed it in. We have to always think about our brothers and sisters. What comes to mind is a situation, it was a battle that took place shortly after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. The Muslims were facing a big army. They were facing the Romans. And these are a group of Sahaba, a group of companions and tabi'ins. They were being led by Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. Ikrimah, the son of Abu Jahl. Ikrimah, the son of Abu Jahl. You don't know Abu Jahl, the big tyrant in Islam, caused so much headache to Muslims early on in Islam? His son Ikrimah. You know about the Battle of Uhud. You hear about how before Khalid ibn Walid, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, before he became Muslim, how he caused a lot of harm to the Muslims at the Battle of Uhud. We know that name, Khalid ibn Walid. We forget his right-hand man when that happened was Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl. Ikrimah, who made use of the hole left by the archers who disobeyed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now he's Muslim now, just like Khalid became Muslim. Alhamdulillah. Look at their mindset. Look at their mindset. Ikrimah had some people under him in his army, in his platoon, for lack of better words. And he said, you know what? Before Allah honored us with Islam, we did so much dirt and harm to the messenger of Allah and to the believers. You know what? I'm going to make an oath, a bay'ah, and a pledge, an oath of allegiance, bay'atul maut. I'm going to make a pledge to the death. This day, in this battle, I promise not to stop fighting until I die. And all the people that was with him said, you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. And everybody that made that oath with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of them were killed, but not all of them. Some of them were wounded where they couldn't move. And you know, we Muslims, we don't deal with suicide. They were like in a trench area. And I'm sure this part of the story many of you have heard before. I just gave you the backstory. And a lot of times we don't have the backstory, so we misapply things. The water finally came around to them. And the water was offered to the first of them. And he said, no, give it to my brother next to me. He needs it more than me. Then he went to the brother next to him. He said, no, give it to my brother. He needs it more than me. And it went on and on, dozens of them. None of them took the water. Then he got back to the first one. He had died. Second one, he had died. So they were all true to their oath. Why did we just mention the story just now? Looking out for their brothers. It was like, you know, I know I made an oath to death. Half of them cats is dead. They ain't going to pass me that water. It wasn't like that. No. It's not about us. It's about our brothers. When we hold out the weakest one amongst us up, it strengthens up all of them. Because if you keep your brother weak, that's the hole that the shaitan and his helpers from amongst men and jinn can use to get at you. So you don't do no good by leaving your brother weak and leaving him out there. Umar ibn al-Khattab understood this. One of his close friends, Ayyash, when it was time to make hijrah, Umar ibn al-Khattab begged him not to give up and fall into the tricks of Abu Jahl and go back to Mecca. I'm not going to narrate the whole story. But Umar gave him his animal. Umar did so many things. Don't trust these disbelievers. They're just trying to get you back to Mecca and keep you in prison. They came back with some old story, oh, your mom's is worried about you. She said she's never going to take a shower and she's never going to comb her hair until you come back. Umar said, they running game or you Ayyash? Don't go for it. Trust me. When your mom starts stinking, she's going to take a shower. And when them lice bugs start biting her scalp, she's going to comb her hair. Don't listen to them. He went back with them. Umar said, okay, if you got to go back, they doing emotional blackmail on you. Take this camel that I got right here. It's real strong. If they try anything, just get on it real quick and run. They got outside of Medina. They was like, oh, Ayyash. No, this camel I got is real weak. You mind if we trade out ride your camel? So they got on his camel, and they started riding, and then they tied him up and brought him back as a prisoner back to Mecca. And at that time, those who didn't make hijrah, they were considered disbelievers. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had revealed some verses where there was a way out. In other words, you're still breathing, you're still living, there's a way for you to make tawbah. Umar ibn al-Khattab wrote these verses down, no commentary, just wrote the revelation down and had it delivered to him back in Mecca. Ayyash got the letter, and he's like, what is Umar trying to tell me? And so he would go out to outside of the outskirts of the city in the middle of nowhere, just read and just try to ponder. Okay, I understand what they're saying, but why did Umar write this to me? What's the point? Then he made dua to Allah, Ya Allah, please help me understand what you have revealed. I don't understand what's being said. And then Allah opened the lock in his mind and in his heart. It's way out, it ain't over with yet. You know, I'm not an apostate. He escaped and then went back to Medina. Umar was his brother's keeper. Look at all he did to try to help his brother out. And I summarized the story. I didn't even get into details. This is how they thought. We have to be the same way. Alhamdulillah, we spent a lot of time eating together and enjoying ourselves. And alhamdulillah, we're about to eat some more. We're going to fire up the grill after the Jumu'ah, Khutbah, inshallah, and have a good time. And then we're going to have a movie night after Maghrib. Inshallah, we're going to have some pizza and some popcorn and inshallah, whatever. Inshallah, just in case I forget the announce it, bring some drinks after the Jumu'ah. I know some of you are too excited. Don't get up now during the Jumu'ah. After Jumu'ah, we need some drinks, right? But we need to talk about food real quick. Amongst us Muslims, number one, there's some backstory. There's some things we don't understand. Many of us have heard the principle, and again, many times half the truth is a lie. Many times if someone is telling you half the truth, they're lying to you. The reason they're telling you half of it is because the other half will clarify your understanding of it. And they don't want you to have an understanding of it. That's why they're only telling you half of it. Like Ali ibn Abi Talib said to the Khawarij when they were chanting ayats of the Quran about Allah being the only judge. He said, Kalimatul haq wa yuridu bihal batil. The statement is true, but what you intend by it is falsehood. It's false. Sahih Muslim. How many of us heard the statement, everything is halal until proven haram, or something like that? Many of us have heard that statement. That is half the statement. There's not a period there. There's a comma. The comma there is except when it comes to food and marriage. And the deep thing about it is, most of us use this when it comes to food and marriage, without the other half. That's a proof that the one who told it to you, 9 times out of 10, didn't know what he was talking about, or he was trying to deceive you. As a rule, you're supposed to assume that the food before you is haram until it's proven halal. Whoa. What does that mean? If my brother invites me to his house for some food, and I sit down at his table, and he puts the food in front of me, I'm supposed to say, brother, is this food halal? No. No, you're supposed to assume that's halal. Why? Because your brother gave it to you, and you're supposed to have a good opinion of your brother. Which brings me to another misconception. Bismillah and eat it. Is this food halal? I don't know, man. I just Bismillah and eat it. All of those hadith that you're talking about, again, has a context. When next time someone tells you, say Bismillah and eat it, tell him to bring you the hadith where he got it from. And read the whole thing. And read what every scholar has said about those hadith. It's only a few narrations. Most of them narrated by Aisha. What was the backstory? Some new shahadas from amongst the Arab, the desert Bedouins. She said, they bring us meat, slaughtered meat. We don't know if they know how to slaughter or not. Should we eat it, should we not eat it? That's when the Prophet ﷺ says, say Bismillah and eat it. Point number 1A. Saying Bismillah does not make it halal at the time of eating. Islam 101. You say Bismillah before you eat anything, including a glass of water. You say Bismillah. What the Prophet ﷺ is telling you is not to worry about it. Trust your Muslim brother and just say Bismillah and eat it like you would normally eat any other thing. In other words, don't go investigating behind your brother. Obviously, unless if you don't know, they don't eat halal. And then now, because we live in the modern age, we got modern issues. One chicken. What do you get? 2 wings, 2 breasts, 2 thighs, 2 drumsticks. That's it. Unless you old school, like my parents' age, you might get some feet and some nails and a beak and all that. But other than that, that's all you got with some chicken. I'm looking at some of you right now. One of y'all can eat all that. Think of how many chickens it takes for one restaurant that serves chicken on one day. How many chickens have to be killed for that one restaurant? Think about all the restaurants, not only in America, around the world. Think about all the supermarkets, all the people that eat chicken all over the world. is a demand for chicken. They gotta mechanize it. So they have factories. They're not even slaughterhouses. They're factories. And you can go on YouTube and see some of these factories. They just bring the truckload of chickens. You see them on the highway. You drive down the highway, see a whole bunch of feathers getting caught in your windshield wiper. That's a truck full of chickens in front of you. And they all caged up. They're in a box. They're in SHU. They're in solitary confinement. They can't even move. Right? And they dump all these chickens and empty the crates out. Put it in a machine, most of the time alive. Then it goes to the conveyor belt, and it comes out, you got chicken. And then some of these places, the ones that claim to be halal, they may have old rusty cassette tape. We don't even use CDs no more. They probably still got cassette tape players in the factory. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. Then you go to the store, and they got the halal sticker on it, and they tell you, this chicken has been mechanically processed. That's why many Muslims who are conscious do not eat chicken that is mechanically processed. And most of the chickens that you see, emphasis on the word most, is mechanically processed. When you're looking at halal meat, I'm not going to use big terminology on you. I'm going to keep it real simple with you. There's 3 things you need to keep in mind that need to be in place for some meat to be halal for you, for Muslims. 3 things need to be in place. The jugular, the blood veins, and the windpipe need to be cut at the time of slaughter. The basmala, the Bismillah Allahu Akbar, has to be said at the time of slaughter. And the one doing the slaughtering, the one doing the slaughtering, the one doing the slaughtering, the one doing the slaughtering has to be either a Muslim or a Kitabi. He needs to be a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew. 3 things I said. The Bismillah Allahu Akbar at the time of cutting. Not at the table with your bootleg Fatima, Bismillah and eat it, right? No, at the time of killing the animal, the windpipe and the blood vessels need to be cut. And the person doing the cutting, the person doing the cutting, the person doing the cutting has to be a Muslim, Christian, or a Jew. If you take the human out of the process, is your machine a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew? Did you give your machine shahada? When it was in the factory, when you made the conveyor belt, when you put the cog and the gear in there, did you say, repeat after me? Did you explain the 5 pillars of the machine? And many of our Muslim brothers and sisters don't know this. And so some of us, we know this. And so we go someplace and they have chicken. And we say, you know, alhamdulillah, we assume the best and we eat it. Some places we go, we know that they use mechanically slaughtered chicken, so we try to avoid them. Why am I mentioning this in regards to my brother's keeper? Because we want to be careful not to offend each other. In the same way you may be offended if you invited me to your house, and I said, I ain't eating that trash. What? That najash or that filth? What filth? That chicken. Why you call it filth? Because it's halal. How's halal? It's halal one. It's mechanically slaughtered. The same way if I said that to you, you will be offended. Some of us are offended when we get served halal meat by Muslims. Because we like to assume that Muslims know better. And we have taken it as our prerogative here. That when we have potlucks or anything, we scrutinize it. And we don't care if you don't like it or not. We don't care if you like, oh, I ain't going in no more because, they acting all funny with the food. We like that big, swole cock diesel dude at the door when you try to get in a club. We not too sure about you, and you don't come around too much, but you serving food. Assalamu alaikum, alhamdulillah. Mashallah, you brought some meat? Alhamdulillah. Mashallah, sleeves at a discount? Oh, I ain't get it from sleeves. Where you get it from? Giant Eagle. No Chinese, whoop, stop. No, we ain't doing that. What? Well, it ain't pork. I know, brother. We'll move on to the side. Brother will explain to you later. So as brothers, whenever we're dealing with Muslims, we should try our best to meet the highest standards. It's not about strict and non-strict. Because that's what some of you think. Y'all just strict. No, some of us care about our prayers. Some of us, have you ever wondered, some of us, we need things. And we praying to Allah, we're crying for it. We stayed up at Tarawih into the Hajj, we begging Allah, Ya Allah, please give it to me. And Allah won't answer you. Don't care nothing about your prayers. So what? Cry. Because you don't care what you put in your stomach. Allah commands you over and over and over again in the Quran what not to eat, what to eat. In Meccan and Medinan verses. Our dietary restrictions are even more strict than the prohibition on khamr. Do you know in Mecca, the diet in Medina was the same way? It wasn't like Allah, allowed you to eat haram meat, and then after a little bit of time, and then He prohibited you from eating haram meat. No, from day one, from Iqra, Bismi Rabbika Alladhi Khalaq, from that revelation, haram meat was always haram meat. But at that time, they were Muslims getting drunk. That should give you an idea of how serious this is. And some of us, we really don't care. Some of us been Muslim for a long time, and they're going to hear this Khutbah. They even know the verses I'm talking about. And when next time they go shopping, they're going to go right to Giant Eagle and go right to Giant Eagle, for people that don't know, it's a supermarket here. Look, Pathmark, ShopRite. They're going to go right to the supermarket and get some chicken or some beef, whatever. And some of us, so what? Y'all too much on that stuff. We don't care. It's just food, huh? And if you think like that, that's on you. Alhamdulillah, we're not going to beat you over the head. Allah will deal with you. But don't make us deal with your food. Have some respect for your Muslim brothers and sisters. We don't want this place to be like, they having food at Mu'min, but I don't know if I want to go because they be having that halal meat. We don't want that. We real strict here. We trying to predict. The masjid, first and foremost, is a place of prayer. It's a place to get your spirituality on. Anything that's going to hinder that, we need to get rid of that. And so that's why we're on it like that. One of the consequences for eating haram meat is not having your prayers answered. So maybe you don't care if Allah answers your prayers, but we do. And we need to, in conclusion, again, be our brother's keeper. My first Eid as a free man, I remember being there. Eid was in the park, Prospect Park, Brooklyn. I was single. I didn't have any children. People that know me now are like, you didn't have any children? Was there ever a time you didn't have any children? Right. I didn't have any children. And I was with a bunch of brothers. I'm the new brother. People don't really know me yet. One by one, the brother's like, all right, y'all, stop making my mouth. I'm going to spend time with my family. Like, all right, alhamdulillah, 5 brothers left. Alhamdulillah, I'm still good. Well, you out? Yeah, okay, 3 brothers left. All right, alhamdulillah. 2 brothers left. All right, it's just me. Yeah, I ain't had no family to go with. That was very sad for me. Now, I didn't go break down and cry boo-hoo, but I think I did have a lump in my throat. I went home. And y'all need to keep in mind that there are Muslims like that. You have your families and everything. There's some Muslims that don't have family right now. Or they don't have certain things that they need. It's not about you. Be your brother's keeper. Be your brother to a brother who don't have people around him or her. And while it's on my mind, y'all know Brother Asa. You know the tall brother with mental issues. Phyllis Hyman's brother. He just called the other day. He needs brothers to go see him. So if I don't do it, go see him. Get the address for me. Inshallah. He asked for brothers to come see him. Say what you want about him, but he loves Allah and he loves the messenger. He loves the believers. Go see him. And be your brother's keeper. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa